This little guy is the Leatherman TTi Charge Plus. It is a titanium premium multi-tool with 19 different functions. In this video, I'm going to be going through all of these 19 functions that this multi-tool has, showing you how each one of them work, because they're not as straightforward as you might think, and giving you my general thoughts of this multi-tool and if it's the right one for you. I'm also going to be comparing this premium multi-tool with a pretty generic multi-tool, so you can see the difference in what you're getting for around $200 versus what you can get for 30-40 bucks. Without further ado, let's turn it around and check this little guy out. So here we are up close and personal with the Leatherman TTi Charge Plus Titanium, and let me show you first what comes in the box. You have, of course, the multi-tool, a carrying pouch, a belt clip, a key ring clip, and some screwdriver heads for the large bit driver that I'll show you in a minute. Now, one of the first things you might notice about the tool itself is that it doesn't quite look like what it shows on the internet. And to show this to you, here's a comparison video on what they show you on the internet. Now you can see that this area is not a very dark color, and these areas are not polished at all. They're more of a brushed, or maybe you'd call it a stone wash finish. But nonetheless, still looks all right. On both sides, you have Leatherman Charge Titanium written on the outside of the tool. And now let's go through all 19 of these features. Starting with feature number 1, as you open this up, is the needle nose pliers. Now Leatherman kind of gyps you on one of these 19 because it says number 2 are regular pliers, which are implied on the inside. So you have needle nose pliers and regular pliers, just a little bit bigger of an opening on the inside. So you can grip something maybe a little bit bigger, like a small bolt. Number 3 and 4, you're also getting gypped for one of these 19. They're considering 2 pieces here as wire cutters. Get in here a little bit, but the wire cutters here are the bigger pieces, so you have a little notch down at the bottom. And this is, the bigger piece is a wire cutter, and the smaller little notch on this same piece is considered to be a hard wire cutter. Now I have a piece of stereo string that I'm going to cut here and demonstrate on how to use these. Very easy, you just slide the wire inside and you cut. Cuts pretty good, so no issues there. They work. Good job, Leatherman. Now, one thing I actually didn't know that was on here and only saw once I was reviewing this on the internet was the inside of here. You can see that these 2 little notches. These are actually electrical crimpers. Now, if you don't know what those are, they're little metal sleeves that you put over wires and then you clamp them together so that it holds the wire. Nifty, but again, I'm not sure why they even considered that. It looks like just a form of the pliers, and then someone just said, hey, those look like electrical crimpers. Let's just say that's a feature and just add to the other features of the tool, trying to sum up as many possible features that you can fit in this tool. One nice thing about the wire cutters is that they are replaceable. There's a little bolt on here, actually on both of them, on each side for each one. And you can remove these in case they get damaged. So that is a big plus on this tool, that not all tools have replaceable bit. And you'll actually see throughout this video that everything on here is replaceable except for the pliers. Moving on, as you open this up, on the inside of the tool, both sides of the tool, on the inside and outside side, depending on what side you're looking at it, is a little ruler. Now this measures 8 inches or just over 9 centimeters across. So if you need to measure something, you got a little ruler for yourself. The next tool we're going to look at is inside, and this is the can opener. Now this tool is a 3-in-1 tool. So again, Leatherman really putting it in there. But I can confirm that each one actually serves a nice purpose. This overall is a bottle opener, a can opener, and a wire stripper. Now it may sound straightforward, but I guarantee some of you out there will not know how to use this. So first off, bottle opener. Now this is a twist top, but it will do the same. Sorry for the blurriness, but you take the bottle opener, you set it inside the cap, and then you just lift off and you'll open your bottle, and that's all there is to it. For the can opener bit, you take the tool and you face it a bit sideways, and you put the hook underneath the can, and then you turn it alongside of the can and just press down and move along until you've completely opened up the can. If you've never used a tool like this before, it could take you a few times to get used to it, but it's very simple, as this tool is very sharp and just cuts through the can like butter. I'm hardly applying any pressure, mainly because you have the leverage from the back of this tool You hook it on and gently lift up and it cuts right through. Now, if you couldn't see before, this side is a bit sharp, so be careful when you're using that. Third aspect of this head is a wire stripper. If you can't see it, there is a little V shape right in here, and that is where you can strip some wires. Now, as they say, there is more than one way to skin a cat, and with this multi-tool, you do have different options to strip a wire, but as we're just checking out this wire stripper here, you would just put the wire in this V, kind of hold it down and then pull. It works good enough. I had to apply a decent amount of pressure, but you know, if you're using this tool, it would get the job done. As you can see, it didn't strip the entire bit, but there's other tools in here you could use to get the rest of the wire out, or you could just keep stripping. It definitely works, and other tools in this kit will help you finish off the job for stripping a wire. You may never use it, but it's on there, so if you do need it, that's how you use it. Now that's it for this tool. Now when you want to put each of these tools down, each one has a nifty clip on each side. There's a clip on this side. This is how you put it down. You press on the outside here, and then you just fold in the tool, like so. The next tool is the large bit driver, and this is where this guy comes into handy with 7 different bits, 8 in total, including this one, that came in the package. Now to change this out, you just pull it out and you can put in whichever bit you want. And then you just slide it back in. It's held together with a spring, and this spring keeps the pressure on one side of the bit as a friction force, so this doesn't slide out. It's in there pretty sturdy, and I've never had any issue of it falling out. So you can take it out, turn it around, switch out for one of the other bits, whatever you want, slide this back in there, and use as you desire. Same as before, when you want to put this tool up, you would open up the multi-tool, press the button on the back, and fold this in. Good. Moving on, what else do we have on the inside? We have what they call a medium screwdriver, and that is the only function of this. Of course, you can use it, maybe the edges to cut something or to scrape, but that is not the main purpose of this tool, just listed as a medium screwdriver. Now, next to the medium screwdriver, and hard to get out unless you get the medium screwdriver out by itself, is a small bit driver. Now, this only comes as a single one. There aren't any additional attachments that come in the box, but this is a very tiny flatheads, and if you can take it out just like the other one and flip it around, and then you have a small Phillips head. This is typically going to be used for glasses, or maybe you have a tiny screw on an electrical device to change out the battery. This guy will come in handy. Now, just like the large bit driver, this is also held in by a spring. You can see it here on how it works. So when you take this out and flip it around, put it back in, you can see how it's held in by the spring. Quite nifty. Now, next to this one are the scissors. Where you take this out, I'm pressing the button on the back so I can fold these in and take this out. Now you have your scissors. Quite self-explanatory how these work. Now put them back in, you fold them around this way, long ways, and then you fold them back in. Now that is it for the inside. Now there are 6 tools on the outside. Let's check those out. This first tool is a serrated knife along with a cutting hook. Now this cutting hook is going to be typically used for cutting string or rope. I don't have any rope with me, but I still have this plastic sleeve for my wire. But you can see how you would just put this in and then just pull through. Good, and it will just slice right through. This is quite sharp, so I don't think there'll be any issues cutting any rope or much of anything, so actually be quite careful. To fold this guy in, there's a push button just under the knife, and you press that button in here with the thumb or your finger. Just watch out when you're pushing this down, and then you can close this guy up. Next to the serrated knife, you have a saw. I think that's pretty explanatory how that works. This is also very, very sharp and will cut through any small branches that you need to cut. Now on the other side, getting to the better part of getting to what I think is the more premium part of the knife. First off, you have a file with 2 different sides. One is a diamond coated file, which you would normally use to sharpen other tools. And on the other side of the diamond coated file, that's very fine, you have a wood/metal file. It's also textured on the bottom here, so you can use the small side as well. But the larger side, you'll be able to file down some burrs or such that you're trying to get rid of. Now the last piece that makes this most premium, besides it being titanium, is the knife. Now this knife is made out of S30V steel, and if you're not familiar with that, it is a premium knife steel that has amazing edge retention properties, which means you won't have to sharpen it very often. Now I have another knife here. This is from Kershaw, and this knife also has a blade made out of S30V steel. I've had this knife probably for about 7 or 8 years now, and I've only sharpened it one time. Now I would say I'm a light user, but every time I need to cut open a box, if I need to cut rope or almost anything, I grab this guy. This is my everyday carry, if you will, and it has remained sharp. And again, I've only sharpened it one time in the 8 years, and in love with S30V steel. One day I'll probably get a higher quality steel, but for now, very satisfied with this knife steel. And for a utility knife, I only want to have a minimum of an S30V steel. And that's mainly why I ended up choosing this particular Leatherman. Now that's not to knock the rest of the steel on this knife. Now most of the steel in this knife is a typical stainless steel. However, the serrated knife also comes with some nice properties, as it is a 420HC metal, which is a good step up from stainless steel. It's also going to retain your edge very nice. Not as good as S30V, but fairly well. Now last but not least, not a functional bit, are our clips that you have for your keyring or your belt. These clip on both in the same location, so you can only have one on at a time, but it is on the side with the file. You press down this button here, and then you slide in whichever one you want, and then it is fixed in there until you release this button, push it out, if I can finagle it, there we go, and then you can switch it out. There is a little notch on here, and that's going to be facing on the outside way, and that's where it hooks in to the holder that's going to hold it in place. Again, press the button, remove it, take the other one. There's only one way this is logically going to go. So again, press the button in, slide in the piece, and then it stays there. And then lastly is the pouch that it comes with. This comes with a few pockets, and I think it's about as good of a pouch as you can get. It's very, very durable feeling, a very nice elastic on the side, and room to expand, and room for all of the accessories that it comes with. I take this tool holder and slide it right there in the front, and I like to have the belt holder because I like to clip onto my pants that I'm wearing or onto my belt, that will then slide into the case, and then you can see it slides. You can see the belt holder will slide into a little notch there that will fit very nicely. Unfortunately, there's no space for the separate key holder, so if you don't have that attached here, you're going to have to find a safe place to put it and just hope you don't lose it. Now, this has a very durable button on the case. It will shut very securely. You're never going to feel like this is going to pop open on accident. And on the back, you also have a little belt loop to where you can slide this holder through a belt, and it'll sit there on your belt if you don't want to attach the tool to your pants or your belt directly. Now, while we're checking out this tool from this angle, I have another multi-tool that's kind of a generic multi-tool that I got for about 40 bucks just to kind of have laying around if I ever need something. Now, I do want to do a little comparison between these two to show you what you're getting for 190 bucks compared to what you're going to get say over at Walmart or Target for 40-50 bucks. First off, you have pliers on both of them. This one is spring action, which can be nice to make sure it pops open. You know, a little less hand work on one than the other, because this one you have to use some fancy action with your hand. But the inside plier bit is not very sharp and not very grippy. I can rub my finger over this and it feels like they just forgot to do the machining on the pliers. Where on the Leatherman, they have very big grooves, it's very grippy, and I'm sure it's gonna last quite a long time if you're doing a lot of work with the pliers. Now this one also has quite a lot of similar tools that the Leatherman has. The size of it and the steel quality are a lot different. And I would also say the safety measures built into the Leatherman are very nice, that everything is going to close and lock. Now in this cheap one, there aren't any locking devices, so when you open this all the way, it can just fall back, and you don't need to do anything for it to fall back on your finger if you're not careful. The overall build quality of this cheaper version is very, very noticeable in all of the aspects of this multi-tool, and I wouldn't expect it to last much longer than a few years of light use. Now, if you're someone that's going on a little camping trip and you just maybe only need to use something once or twice, this will probably do just fine. But after you get using this little baby knife they have in here made out of some cheap steel. I don't even think it's stainless steel. If you go and cut a few ropes or whittle a couple branches down to get your marshmallows on there, it's gonna be done, and you're gonna need to resharpen it. And you're gonna need to go over to your Leatherman, and you're gonna be happy that you have a file that you can use to resharpen this knife after you're done using it, because it's going to dull very quickly. That's just what you get with this kind of steel and this price point of a multi-tool. Now Leatherman does have other multi-tools that are of higher quality, but you're going to be spending a bit more than 30-40 bucks for a multi-tool from Leatherman. Just that the difference will be you're not going to have your serrated knife being out of 420 HC steel, and you're definitely not going to have a knife made out of S30V steel, which for me was, again, the selling point. So now you know everything you could possibly need to know about the Leatherman TTi Charge Plus titanium version, and a comparison to one of the generic multi-tools that you could find for about 30-40 bucks. Now, as you saw, there's a lot of premium features that come with the Charge Plus, and I think it's close to being worth the price of 200 bucks. I think a multi-tool for 200 bucks is quite a stretch and really premium, targeting a very select few people that want this type of multi-tool. I personally only bought this multi-tool because of the S30V knife. As I showed you just before, I have a knife with the S30V steel and I absolutely love it. And if I ever buy a utility knife again, it's only gonna be S30V or better. And that's just because I really enjoy using it. They stay sharp forever. And once you've had one of the best, it's hard to go down and have a cheaper steel. Now, if you're looking into this product and comparing it to other Leathermans, I know you definitely will not be sorry if you get this. If you have the extra 80 to 100 bucks to throw out for a multi-tool, I can definitely recommend it. But if you're a little tight on the budget and you're more around that 90 to 120 range, there's the other Leathermans without this fancy steel that's in this one that you can get. They're going to be just as good. You're just going to need to sharpen the knife more often, as it's going to go dull a lot faster than the S30V steel. Now, as I've said a few times during this video, this particular multi-tool is running between $180 and $200, depending on where you can get it. I'll leave an Amazon link in the description below so you can check what you can get it for on Amazon, but also check on the Leatherman website to see if they have a deal running where you can get it for a little bit cheaper. Now, I hope this video and the review of this multi-tool was very helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and I hope you subscribe to catch more content coming in the future. As always, stay practical, and I'll catch you in the next one.